Hello everybody, I am Cash Nikita and we are back with my Noobs guide for Resident Evil 2 Remake on how to get an S Plus on hardcore. So, one thing that you need to be aware of, I basically recorded the next part and then it deleted it, so I've had to get back to this save point. However, I do actually, if I just get my saves up, I do actually have the next save that I need, which is just before you fight G stage 2. So I'm currently on this save here, but when I do the third part, I'm going to go back to that save. But on this is basically giving me an opportunity to kind of have a bit more leniency with the second half of the run, because I'd actually argue that the second half is one of the more difficult parts. Obviously, like, the first bit isn't all that bad. The second bit can be a bit of a pain. I've basically done things very similar to how I did it last time, so there isn't really that much difference in my loadout and what I have, what I don't have. And I am still going to be running through this part as if I was going for the S Plus on this save as well. But realistically, I'm probably going to make like 1 or 2 extra saves along the way, because this is more like a tutorial run rather than an actual definitive run. I do plan on doing a proper definitive run at some point, but I'd rather wake him up, and believe me, this is my first hint of the whole episode. If his head is not exploded, explode it, because trust me, he is a real pain in the ass if you don't. If you don't believe me, you know, don't pop his head and then go through the next part and tell me it wasn't so bad, because I will call you a fucking liar. In your own time. Come on. 3, 2, 1. Well, shit. Fuck you for taking all my ammo. But on the bright side, as I said, anything I do between this and the next save doesn't really matter anyway, so that's fine. As with the first part, obviously do make sure that you do skip cutscenes, because sometimes they add to the time, sometimes they don't, but it's best just to skip them when you're going for S+. Best not get distracted and all. Plus, if you've played this game enough times to be ready for an S+ ranking, you probably know the game well enough anyway. I don't really have a lot of tips for this opening chapter. I guess my only real tip is obviously take out that guy, but this is rather important, by the way. You can obtain, obviously if you're doing the run the way I am, then you can obviously obtain some shotgun shells in here. It's best to grab those before you turn the power on, because if you do it before the power turns on, then the zombies that are laying down in the firing range will just stay down unless you piss them off. So it's always best to grab those first. It's just useful having them, to be perfectly honest. You also then, it's up to you, obviously you got the burst fire key there if you want to get the burst fire upgrade to the pistol. I personally don't get the burst fire pistol. I don't know why I do the run this way. I just do. I just find that not having the burst fire pistol, because I usually use the shotgun early, that kind of takes the slot that would have been the burst fire pistol. Right, next tip, definitely kill the dogs in the cages, because it will make the next bit much less of a pain in the ass. Yeah, that's kind of how I designed this run as well when I was putting it all together. It's very much designed to be as unannoying as possible. Obviously, as Clay, you're going to have a pair of lickers in there, so just use the grenade launcher. Barbecue them, should take 1 or 2 flame rounds, but I will be explaining that in my Claire run anyway. Going into the morgue, I usually grab a flash grenade. I do have one in storage, but I like having an extra one just because it's a useful bit of kit. But I always have one in my storage box anyway, going into the second chapter, plain and simply because if I didn't, then there's going to be a part much later on which would be, I wouldn't say impossible, but definitely difficult. So like I said, this isn't so much me showing you how to perfectly pull off the run. This is me kind of showing you the best routes, the best strategies to avoid combat, avoid taking damage. But then also, because obviously where the next save is a save, there's like, you're still going to see that if you do all this and don't get your thing deleted, you know, if you're not trying to record it and you don't get your footage delayed, then you will, doing this, end up with an S+ rank. The only reason why this particular save won't get an S+ is because it's had that glitch. Right, so this dog here, he's going to run over the fence. You can literally skip straight past him. You don't have to deal with him at all. You can literally go straight for the door before he can get you. This guy crawling over the fence, shoot him with the shotgun. Trust me, you'll thank me later. Again, with his friend, let him go over, shoot him as well. Now, there's a very good reason why you shot both of those dogs. Simply, the dogs are a colossal pain in the ass, particularly on hardcore mode. And the last thing you want is them getting in the way. So that one, as you see, you can dip straight past. That's not an issue. The main reason why you want to shoot that dog climbing under, he will be roaming in this hallway otherwise, and there is a part later on where you come back down here, and if he's still there, it can be a real pain, particularly if you're on low health. This doesn't just work on the S+ rank as well, by the way. This also is a good bit of advice just if you're trying to avoid getting killed on hardcore mode. But yeah, no, that again, just kind of my opinion and my tip number. You are, of course, going to have to realise that there's going to be some moments later on in the run which are just, I wouldn't say they're going to be difficult, but they're definitely going to result in a bit of misery. So obviously strategically picking your saves is going to be key. Like I said, the main 3 saves that I usually do are either just before or just after the G boss fights. This is because they're the main real pinnacles of the game, the real chapters, if you will. So I usually board up this window where the zombie is, and playing zombie, it just makes later on much less irritating. These guys, I always shoot them in the face. It's safer, it's easier, and trust me guys, if you don't, you are in for a world of grief. Just, like I said, him right there, you don't actually have to worry about too much. He's not too much of an issue. Sometimes, however, he can be a pain, so just put a couple of pistol rounds into him before you go on. Because the less grief you get from him, the better. So as you come out here, you want to go out, turn left, and go up these steps. Specifically these steps, because you now need to go upstairs and make an interesting choice. As you can see, I still have the extra 2 slots that I suggest picking up. This is because those extra 2 slots just make all the difference, particularly in hardcore mode. But obviously, like, if you know when to use items and how many times you can use them, throwing away items is also a good way of not taking up all of your inventory space at once. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to discard that handle now that you've used it twice, because that's the only 2 times you're going to be using it. Flashbangs are going to be very useful, particularly later on. You're going to see me at multiple times just strategically use a flashbang. So what I usually do when I'm going for S+, some people grab it on the way back. I personally like grabbing it on the way. I don't know why I do it this way, I just find it easier, I guess, with the big cog. I mean, it takes up 2 slots in your inventory, but at the same time, you never really, I wouldn't say you really struggle inventory-wise. I mean, with hardcore, you'd think where you've got a much more limited resource set that it would be harder, but it's honestly not. Right, so there's gonna be 2 zombies behind that door that you've just seen ahead. I gotta be honest, guys, there's 2 ways you can go about it. You can either do one way, which is you throw a flashbang, run past them, and then you just run straight past them again. So you can do that, literally, like, so you get a flashbang, line it up, throw it, and then you run straight past them. This not only positions them in a nice spot for later on in the run, but it also just makes life so much easier. Like I said, obviously you want to kind of keep an eye on your inventory. You want to just kind of make sure that you've got everything you need, because there are going to be moments later on in the run where you're going to be like, I'm either struggling for space or I'm on the brink of death and I've only got 1 slot. This flash grenade, by the way, guys, I cannot stress enough, when you go back downstairs with both of the box electronic parts, you want at least one flashbang. And there is a very, very good reason why. But I won't say why here. So, those two zombies outside, if you go to the left-hand side, you can avoid them. Good way of saving ammo, and obviously, because they're still a bit frazzled from the flashbang. However, if you can't do that, or if you're not overly confident in your dodging ability, you can just one-shot them with a shotgun. This is why I'm saying very much, like, if this is your first attempt at S+, please use the shotgun. You will save yourself so much grief later on in the run, it's ridiculous. Okay, is this going to work today? Because it can be very hit and miss. The tyrant, as you open the door, can be a bit... No, it didn't work. Sometimes you can just slip past the tyrant when he opens the door. It didn't work that time. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bait his punch, dodge out the way, and then I'm just going to run. It's easier, it's safer, and plain and simply, like, when it comes to Mr. X chasing around, everyone thinks he's this intimidating force, which he is, but when you've done this game enough times, he's more of an annoyance by the end of it. By the way, the combo in that safe will give you an upgrade for your pistol. The combination is 6-11, in case you wanted that gun part. I sometimes grab it, I sometimes don't. It varies from run to run. Alright, so as we are going downstairs into this section here, there is one key thing I need to point out. Behind this door, there's going to be a licker. So what you're going to do is a little cheeky trick I call bait and switch. You're going to walk in, and you're going to sprint out. That triggers the licker, makes him go aggro, and then because he's got aggro, if you leave and go back in, he'll go to the other side. The reason he does this is because there's supposed to be two lickers on the other side, and if you do spawn that licker, it makes life much easier. That, by the way, guys, is why I put the boards over that window. It stops that zombie from jumping at you later on. That is the, I wouldn't say the key thing, but definitely the most important thing you have to remember with Resident Evil 2 when going for an S+, is that know what's coming ahead. The best thing you can do is just study the game. Right. Have I actually lost him? Because if I have, the next part becomes easier. Nah, here he comes. Go on. I'm never getting my peace and quiet, am I? Right, so as you can see, Mr. X is here. Best thing to do, stun him. And trust me, guys, you want to stun him. Because this next part, if you don't stun him, is annoying. So you probably remember upstairs in the library, I killed all the zombies. Now, the reason I did that is because you need this tool here. This is for lowering bookcases and allowing you to make a little path across. One thing I've done on this run that I didn't do the last run, by the way, is if you pre-move some of the bookcases, it will save you time and aggro. So in the event of Mr. X is chasing you and you don't have the supplies or you're not confident enough in taking him out, it means you only have to move one bookcase. Well, you only have to move that one, and then you have to move all four of them like that. But it's a lot less stressful than trying to move four of them at once. Of course, if you haven't moved any of them, just push all the way from the left one, and then just keep moving until you got a nice clean path across. And then just traverse across. It's pretty straightforward. By this point, Mr. X will have gotten back up, by the way. You can sometimes see him stomping around downstairs, basically coming to turn you into jelly. So I suggest moving quickly. Shotgun that zombie, I cannot stress it enough. It will save you so much grief later on. The gear. So the clock tower, the way it works, basically you have two gears. You have one upstairs, one downstairs. However, to save time, take the big gear back out and take it upstairs with you. If you want some extra bullets, by the way, there is a large gunpowder in the back room back there, but I usually don't bother getting it. I only really grab it if I've got a high-grade gunpowder because the extra shells can be useful. So you want to put a big gear here. That's gonna do that. And then you're gonna go downstairs with a small gear, fix the last bit of the tower, And then you get to hear Leon with the world's least funny joke ever. Now, if you're feeling, I say confident, but it's more brave. If you think you can clear all of the police station, as in you can clear all the way up until you leave with Ada, without dying on hardcore, then absolutely put your first save just after you fix the electronic part and escape the police station with Ada. However, I'm not being funny. Your chances of pulling that off, stun you. I'm just gonna run straight past you. Your chances of pulling that off are very slim. I think I've pulled it off once, and it was a lot by the skin of my teeth, and I was practically sweating at the end. Stun you, go straight past, don't even have to worry about that. Go this way. This is just the most optimal route, by the way. If Mr. X does chase you forward from where that cop was, you can take the back route, but I most of the time go this route. Oh, fuck me. Okay. He can sometimes do this, guys. Yeah, he really does. Yeah, you can just slip past him like that. He might be big and scary, but he's not the brightest. Right, so what I'm going to suggest doing now, obviously, because we need to get back downstairs now. We haven't had to use our sub-weapons, which is nice. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. It's a lot of this game, particularly when trying to speedrun it, can be RNG. So what I like doing on this corridor, I like just doing a flashbang. It stuns them long enough that you can just get past. Because you want to get to the save room. And this is basically because I usually put the electronic part in the save box. If you didn't, then head straight down. But as I said, for the love of God, make sure you have a flashbang on the way down. And I can't stress enough why you need one, and you are pretty much about to see why. By the way, this chapter right here, if you have killed the dog in the hallway, it's a lot easier. It's just quicker. Like I said, there's a lot of moments in this run where I do things where if you're trying to go for the quickest time possible, don't do. But if you're just trying to get... This is like an everyman's guide to trying to get an S+ in Resident Evil 2. It's not like a pro guide. It's not like, oh, this is the most ideal and optimal way of doing it. Not even close. I'm kind of good at the game. I'm not that good at the game. But anyway, so obviously you want to go down through the cell block. I usually open the boxes as I get to the cell block. You can always do it earlier though. I don't see the point in opening them until I'm actually in the area where I'm going to use them, in case I die or in case something happens. Because it's just wasting time otherwise. The puzzle, I've got a pretty quick way of solving it at this point. I've solved it enough times that I just know it at this point. It's kind of muscle memory at this point. So I mean, like, I can do that without really thinking about it. I don't have to consciously think about that at all. I can just solve that really easily. We have the corpse of the once reporter Ben. Poor guy. See, as much of an arsehole as he is, he did not deserve to get his head caved in. Right. You've probably been wondering, Cash, why the flashbang? Why the flashbang?
That's not good.
Surprise, bitch, all the cells just opened and all the fucking zombies got out. Your only hope? The flashbang. Now, Baldy Big Balls is going to charge down here. What are you going to do? You're going to bait him out. You're going to slip past him. You're going to head around this corner here. And then, right here, you're going to throw that flashbang you can save him. Because if you don't, these zombies are going to rip you a new arsehole. And that's where you kill that crawler there, because he will spring to life and rip your throat out. So, congratulations, you have just cleared the police station, and if you are lucky enough to have this as your first save, seriously, just save. Trust me, you want a save before Ada's chapter at least, because going from the beginning up until this point and not saving, unless you are going for a no save run, you're crazy. I'm not being funny, like, this is, if I was doing a if I was gonna have a safer run, I would save before the G bosses. If I was feeling brave or if I was feeling good, then I would put my first save as you leave the police station.
No.
So you're going to go through Kendo's gunshot. There's going to be an upgrade for your shotgun. It'll also give you some free ammo when you stick it on, which is nice. Again, even if you haven't grabbed the shotgun yet, because you're going to grab it in the lab anyway, it's still worth picking up. Fully upgraded shotgun is going to be a godsend later on in the game, particularly because of some moments that happen later on. The main things that I can kind of advise from this point onward. At this point, I'd say you're about halfway to the next save. Okay? So, if your first save was before G Stage 1, then your next save is going to be before G Stage 2. If this is your first save, as in you haven't saved up until this point, then your first save point's actually coming up. And it just depends how you approach it. Obviously, again, just skip the cutscenes. It will save you a lot of time. I personally like saving before this sequence coming up if I'm putting my first save after escaping the police station. And the main reason I do that is because there's going to be a little, I wouldn't really call it a boss fight, it's more like a little action sequence, like, because you run away from a giant crocodile, but you'd be surprised how many times I screw it up. I've screwed this one up a couple of times, and it's annoying, it's irritating, particularly when going for the S+. If you bollock it up here, obviously if you save before G Stage 1, you have no choice, you just have to run through it. That's basically what I'm treating this run like still, so you're probably not going to see me save on camera.
Sewers are run by the city. How could they have a facility
what I might do, I might basically end the recording and then I might edit in the next part, but I might save between just for safety, because like I said, this isn't so much on this particular playthrough, it isn't a definitive I get an S+ run, it's just me showing you how to get an S+. It's me kind of showing you the best way of doing it. Like I said, your first save can be as early or as late as you want it to be. It depends how confident you are. Just remember that throughout the whole run, to get S+, you can only save 3 times. Which basically means you cock up at any point, you go back to your last save. It doesn't matter if it's a minute ago, it doesn't matter if it's 4 hours ago. But if it's 4 hours ago, you definitely not an S+, because you need to clear game in 2.5 hours. This part, the pattern is left, right, left. So you want to run and hold all the way to the left. The crocodile will charge out. Hold the stick, by the way, guys. I've had moments where I've thought I'm holding him to the right or left, and I've still been eaten by the crocodile. Right, so he's just snapped twice, then go back to left. When he starts tracking you like this, then you know you've done it right. So you sprint through the barrows, you slide down, shoot thing, and then Leon gives a nice one-liner. Grab this grenade, by the way. So after you do that, that's actually your last bit as Leon until later on. And the main, I don't know why I'm shooting that, I just felt like it. Your next part is going to be as Ada. Ada's chapter you can do without actually using guns. It can be a bit of a pain in the ass, but you can. So what I'm going to do, because this is my tutorial run, I'm just going to show you one of the best or more optimal ways of clearing it.
Can't say I didn't warn you.
This also helps you get the Super Slick Secret Spy achievement if you don't already have it, which is just clearing Ada's chapter without using her gun. Again, you don't have to do it for an S+, you don't have to clear a chapter without using the gun. Obviously if you want to use it, use it. I sometimes do, I sometimes don't. It depends how I'm feeling at the time, you know. But I've had times where it's been easy, I've had times
so let me get this straight.
Hard.
Umbrella sells monsters like that to who?
I just find it's
Our
easier
military? Somebody
if you
else's?
do it kind of carefully.
They don't sell the monsters. They sell the viruses that make them.
They sell the
Annette is
viruses
who
that
makes
make the
viruses.
monsters. They get them to
Scary as that
Umbrella.
alligator was. Annette is far more
Oh,
dangerous.
scary as the alligator was. Yeah, fucking close. Okay guys, so just brace for a bit of a weird cut, because like I said, I'm saving on this run while I show you the route. Okay, so Yeah, sorry about that weird kind of cut, guys. Basically, I was just saving because when I'm doing a tutorial run, I find it's better
You
to
can
save along the
run,
way.
Annette.
But
you
obviously, you're gonna
can't
see,
hide.
like I said, this is primarily just a tutorial, just trying to help you
Secret
guys
weapon
out.
time.
So I'm gonna treat this like I was going for the no gun run as Ada anyway, because you really don't have to use it, and to be honest, it just wastes time. Honestly, like with Ada's chapter, it can be cleared pretty quickly. The only thing to remember is obviously you're not going to get any health kits, so particularly when going for S plus and when doing this on hardcore, you basically want to be careful. You want to you just kind of want to be paying attention. You want to not rush, and that's kind of the main thing with all of hardcore, but particularly with later chapters, you want to kind of just be careful. That bit you literally can do before you even drop down. It will save you grief for that zombie. This isn't the most optimal route that I take with Ada, but I definitely find it's a much... You're less likely to get eaten that way. Like, you're kind of doomed to have the zombies get you at least once. Like, my route isn't quite perfect, but it works. Of course, you don't have to do it without a gun. If you want to use her gun, by all means, you do. Believe me. It's hit or miss. If you do, and you die, then, you know, it's not the end of the world. Watch this corner. I can't stress enough, guys, watch that corner. The amount of times I have been jumped by that zombie is ridiculous. So that time I actually managed to do it without shooting anyone, so that's cool. Obviously, once you go around here, Mr. X is going to chase you. However, to be perfectly honest, he's not actually that much of a threat. You've got enough time in this chapter, you can do that. You then pull the switch, you flip it over from here, again just stand here. Don't worry about the thumping footprints behind you, he's a bit further away than he sounds. You want to power around. I tend to just stand next to it, because by the time he gets there, you're... But that's what I mean, like, a lot of Ada's chapter is just how familiar you are with it. I personally never managed to get through it without getting bitten, but I can pretty much consistently get through without using my guns. So if you manage to get through without being bitten, congrats. I'd love to see how, by the way, because I always love improving my strategy. I love kind of refining my route, so if you have a more efficient route, I'd love to see it. But as I've always said, I try and keep things genuine, and I try and keep them just kind of how it is, which whenever I'm going for S+, particularly on Leon's campaign, just because there's a lot of moments with Leon's campaign, particularly on hardcore, that I'd argue are actually harder.
Gonna burn me alive now.
The final boss being
never get your
a
filthy hands
main
on the G.
example. I'm not being funny.
I'm not the only
The
one
super
after all.
tyrant at the end is
You realize that?
just annoying,
And you
to
won't
say
die
the least.
alone.
Right, so the kind of end puzzle with Ada's chapter, you want to click that, then press that one, and again, you really should study the route and study kind of what you're going to do. I think I did like 4 dry runs before I got my first ever S+ as Leon. And that was me basically doing different chapters over and over again until I was able to do them without thinking about them. But even I still make mistakes. I still occasionally get killed. I do have that second save, by the way, just before G2, like I said. So even though this run is just going to be a standard hardcore run, the route that I take and the things that I show you how to do, when implemented correctly, will get you an S+. You know, you will only save 3 times, but you will basically get the S+ at the end of it. The only reason I'm saving while making this tutorial for you guys is just to kind of help you out here. So the sewers as Leon
Ada, where are
is
you?
basically the other reason why I grabbed the shotgun. And that's only because there's 3 zombies. Well, I say 3, there is 1 more. who you ideally want to deal with. So what you're gonna do, and you're gonna see in a minute, you're gonna hop down here. You have, at this point, it's usually a bit earlier, but obviously I've been taking this one a little slower. Basically what you're gonna want to do, if you look to the left and right, you're gonna see 2 tunnels. I usually go to the left, grab the shotgun ammo, and then I go to the right. And the reason I do this is primarily just because it's just useful having it. I'm not trying to be funny or anything. It's just useful having the shotgun ammo. It will save your ass later on. Like, the shotgun is arguably one of the best weapons that Leon gets. Claire's grenade launcher is useful, but the shotgun just, it one-taps zombies. It's just useful. Speaking of one-tapping zombies, you've probably noticed up until this point, I've kept grenades on me. I haven't really used them, and that's because this guy, if you don't get that headshot like I got, and he grabs you, you're going to want a grenade. Trust me, it will just save you grief. I'm going to pre-kill you. You don't have to pre-kill these guys, by the way. You can slip past them, but it's... First of all, it's safer, easier, and it just makes later on so much less of a pain in the ass. You're about to, by the way guys, you are about to encounter what I consider the real, I wouldn't call them threat of the sewer, but definitely a nuisance. These are the G mutants. They basically lurk in the water, they will grab you, they will poison you. This is why blue herbs become vital at this point. What I usually do to deal with them, I will get near, I'll shoot one that triggers him, and I'll just run straight past him like that.
What the hell?
It's easier, it's safer, because the way to kill them is either barbecue them with a flamethrower, or you shoot their eye out. But to be perfectly honest guys, you only want to use the flamethrower on G stage 2. I can't stress it enough, but I can't insist enough that you don't use the flamethrower on anything other than bosses and IVs. And given that IVs don't come into the lab anyway, in the sewers you only need to use the flamethrower on G stage 2.
Where'd she go?
So after that, you're gonna hop down here. You're gonna hop down here as well.
I'm coming, Ada.
You're gonna keep going. Leon's gonna tell Ada that he's coming. I don't know why I always joke about that, but I do. I usually just put my pistol away, to be perfectly honest. You don't really need it. All you really need for this section is 1 green, red, blue herb, and your shotgun. That's basically it. That's all you need. And to be perfectly honest, this chapter isn't actually that difficult. Like, once you escape the police station, the section in the lab and the sewers, they're easy enough. Like, I'm not being funny. If you know the route, if you know where things are, and depending on how you do them, it can be as easy or as hard as you want it to be. If you are using the shotgun at this point, you can open the safe and obtain the stock. If you're not using the shotgun yet, still use the safe and get the stock. So 2, 12, 8, 2, 12, 8. There we go. Yeah, because like I said, you get the shotgun in the lab anyway if you don't pick up in the police station. But if you're like me, who just grabbed it anyway, I'm not being funny guys, you don't have to get it, but I like having it in the sewers. It's easier, I feel a bit safer that way, you know. There's a red herb there, you know, you can make yourself... What I like doing here isn't really that well advised. I basically go get the flamethrower first. And the main reason I do this, guys, is because going after the flamethrower is a lot harder than going after the last little plug-in thing. So this is why I always bring the shotgun with me. These guys, you know, just pop their head and be done with it. Trust me, it will save you so much grief later on. Like I can't stress enough. Just kill them. Just do it. The people who say don't use the shotgun on an S plus rank until you get to the lab, unless you are either John Wick himself with the pistol, or you can absolutely slip past every zombie, guaranteed, without using bullets, just use it. There's no reason not to. This guy at the little van, you can run straight past him. Literally, like, by the time he spawns in, you're gone. Then you can open up this here. Now, what you're gonna do, guys, is I wouldn't say it's tricky, but you have to be careful. You're going to grab the shells here. You're going to ride the lift up, and there's going to be a zombie, and he's going to be laying on the ground here. He will wake up, okay? So burst his head out the way. Open up the door, grab the rook, and head back. And the reason you head back is because this route is just quicker and easier, and generally just it will save you grief. So that G mutant in the water, you want him to dive. If he doesn't dive, make him dive, because I can't stress enough, guys, if he's in the water with you, he's going to make your life hell. And you just don't want that. So you're going to go along here. You're going to go right. There's going to be a little dip in the stairwell here. You're going to open it up with the T-bar. So the place that we're going now, I basically have one strategy for, and again, this is where the shotgun can be useful, just because it's a good little prod gun. You can take the pistol if you want at this point, but I like having the shotgun on me. I feel safer with the shotgun, I just like having it. What I tend to do here, I have 3 slots. So that's the flamethrower plus 1.
Worse.
And to be a realist, I'm probably going to get grabbed at least once, but that's why you have the grenades. You want to trigger him, see, he grabbed me that time, and this is why you want to have these guys, because if you don't, these things are just the absolute fucking worst. You can go slip past him on the left. He's going to use him to, you're basically racing. If you do lose the race, by the way, just go to the left, you can go straight past him. He's going to slip out, but you can get past him. He's slow, he's done. But yeah, that's also where you have the blue and red herbs. It's a good recurring poison. It just means you take less damage overall. It's going to make your life less of a misery, to be perfectly honest. And that's kind of the way this run is designed. It's meant to be kind of a average, everyman's kind of... It's not impossible to get an S plus in Resident Evil 2 Remake, it's just a colossal pain in the rear. I'm gonna have to discard one of my herbs. Great. Fine. Usually you won't have to discard your herbs, but because I want to grab the thing, I'm gonna have to. Again, he's gonna drop down. This is again why I have the shotgun on me, and the extra grenades. Just trust me guys, all of this is to make your life easier. If you don't want to grab the flamethrower, by the way, you actually don't have to. I will silently judge you for not grabbing it, because it will make the next part so much fucking easier. I cannot stress how difficult the next part can be without the flamethrower. And particularly if you use the flamethrower right, you don't have to use anything else. So you open this. And you open here, and this is kind of a no damage guide as well for getting through the sewers, and it's just kind of like the most efficient route. So again, you're gonna grab that, and you are gonna grab that, and then that's all the chest pieces that you need. So now you just go back to the monitoring room. And once you get back to the monitor room, you're set. No, that's it. You're done at this point. Ideally, if you have the 2 grenades as well, this bit is much easier. So the G meters are still going to be kind of going around. You want to bait them into diving, because if they don't, guys, you're in for a bit of a bad time. Like I said, if they do that, which they sometimes do, just climb back up. They won't get you if you climb back up. But that's what you want to do. You want to bait them and start down. You basically want them gone. So if they stay gone, they're going to be less of a pain. They can sometimes do that, by the way. If they do, though, it's fine. They're going to spit at you. They're going to hate you. But they're slow enough that you can run straight past them. You want to go to the left of the path. If you go to the right, you're going to get stuck. And you're going to go against spawn. If you don't mind using the flamethrower, then use the flamethrower, but to be perfectly honest, you just want to...
What the hell was that?
You want to basically drop down here, and then you want to run to the fire. And congrats, that is the last G-Mutant you actually have to engage with, because at this point you're running back to the lab. Well, back to the monitoring room. Because you are now in for the next part of this run, which is the save. This is going to be your second save if you're doing the standard boss strat, or it's going to be your first save if you are really good at the game, or obviously it depends where your first save is, but I would always recommend putting your second save here when you're trying to get an S+ rank, and always try and get back with the fuel for the flamethrower intact. So what you're going to do, you're going to take these chest pieces and you're going to put them in the corresponding slots here. There's going to be a riddle in the middle, it will show you. I'm not actually going to show you guys the solution because I like this puzzle and I kind of like just having people work it out for themselves. So what I am going to do, I'm just going to end the video here. I hope you've been good, I hope you've been doing well, I hope you've had a really good day. I hope you're enjoying this series as well because I'm really enjoying making it for you. But for now, I have been Cash Nikita. Thank you so much for watching. And just, yeah, I'm hoping to get the next part for this video series either up tomorrow or up the next day. But I hope you're enjoying it. I hope it's helpful as well, because I know a lot of people struggle. And I'm not really surprised. This is not the easiest thing to pull off. So hats off to you if you do. But I've been Cash Nikita. Thank you so much for watching. And here's Leon doing the dance. Like and subscribe, you will 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 like and subscribe. See you next time, guys.